So you're thinking about getting solar panels for your house. In this video, I just want to share some of my thoughts and some of the things that I went through in my research before I opted for solar panels and a battery system in my house. Some of these things are going to be quite obvious, but just some things really to think about if you're getting quotes and you're doing your research. So the first thing we're going to talk about really is your home. Now every house is different. Now every roof is a different size, and every house is angled in a different compass point to a different compass point. Every house has a different location for its meter box and for its consumer unit or fuse box. So every house is different. There isn't a kind of standard in store, and that's why the quotes that you get can't really be compared to another person's quotes, even though it might be the same system, because there may be a lot more work involved in setting that person's system up. But anyway, the first thing you want to kind of look at really is the sort of think about the size of your roof and how many panels you may put on it. What I actually did was measure my tiles. So luckily I've got top floor roof with Velux, so I can kind of lean out and have a look at the tiles. But you could just go up on a short ladder and look at the width and the height of your tiles. And then if you take a photograph of your roof and then zoom in on a computer, you can actually count the number of tiles and get a really exact measurement for your roof size. So then you can kind of work out yourself how many panels you think you're actually going to get on your roof. Now, something I learned was that every panel is not the same size. Panels with more wattage, higher wattage, are larger, and commercial ones are even bigger than residential ones. I thought that basically the insides of the panel were basically just more kind of compressed, or there was just more technology built in if you went for a higher wattage panel. No, the size actually grows as well, so you need to remember that. If you want to find out the sizes of the panels, then the best thing to do is to go onto the manufacturer's websites, as they'll have all the specifications and the details for the panels that you're looking at. You can then work out how many panels that will roughly fit on your roof. The next thing you should think about is the way that your house faces. Now, everyone talks about south being the most optimum direction for your panels, and it is. Most people wouldn't put them on the north side. South facing is the best, but don't forget about the east and west as well. A lot of the installers that came to me who quoted for me only really wanted to put them on the south and didn't see the point of putting them on the east side. Now, one installer that did come round, and that's who I went with, did say south and east. So I thought, well, brilliant. It's the first person that's actually said that, and I hadn't thought about it. I myself, when I thought about putting them up, I was only going to go on the south side. But I was a little bit restricted on the number of panels I could put on the south side, because I've got two large Velux windows on there. So they cut out probably about me putting about 4 panels on the roof. So I've had to have 4 less. But those 4 less have gone on the east side. Now the east side is really good if you've got a clear east sky in the morning. Then that sun does come up really early, especially in summertime. So you can actually have a fair bit of power for breakfast time and for heating your water up early in the morning. And the panels have started to actually create solar power from anywhere from 6 o'clock in the morning onwards. Alternatively, on the west side as well, as the sun sets, if you've got a clear sky on the west, you might want to think about the west side as well. I couldn't have that because I've got an adjoining house, and I didn't see the point really of having panels on the west side once the sun was already sort of on its way down. One of the most important things to do is to know how much power your house uses per day, or in a typical day, even down to per hour, in order to work out sort of the best size battery to have if you're going to have a battery. Also with the solar panels, to know what your house rests at during the day as well. So I know that my house, with everything kind of turned off, still runs at between 300 and 400 watts Around about 400 if the fridge is turning itself on again, but around about 300 if just everything else is kind of on standby, with things such as CCTVs and network storage devices in the home and different things on standby. The reason to know this is to know so you can add up how much power is being used during the day and then size up your battery. It also helps you know how much power and how many panels you're going to need to cover your energy needs. Think about where you're going to locate your inverters. The installers, when they come round and quote you, will have a good idea of where you should probably put them, or give you some ideas if you don't know. But it's going to help the installers a lot if you already have a good idea of where you want them to go, so that they can think about cable runs. I mean, where you want them may be kind of impossible, but obviously you're the homeowner, it's your home, so you have the best ideas really of where things should be. So they can be located outside, and most of these things are weatherproof. I just didn't want inverters and switches and things on the outside of my house, to be honest. In the end, we went for the garage. We came through the outside wall, and then we went through the utility room with some trunking, which looked no different to a piece of coving really, and you kind of really didn't notice it. And so it took the cables and the wires through to the garage where everything is on the wall. I did think initially that the cabling for the panels was going to be really thick, a bit like an armoured cable thickness really, but it isn't. It's very thin, so a small amount of trunking you can get away with it. If you're thinking about in-roof solar, where they take your tiles away and the actual panels lie flat with the tiles, then you are going to pay more for labour, because it takes more time to install those. You may actually have to pay like an extra day's labour for the in-roof solar. So think about that. If you've got a complicated install, or you've got conservatories, or if you've got a difficult install, or you're doing two sides of the house or three sides of the house, then you're going to need more scaffolding, which is also going to probably lead to higher costs. So think about that as well. Another thing to think about is, if you're thinking about getting a battery, look at the discharge percentage of these batteries. Even though they're saying 8 kilowatt battery, they may only have like a 90% discharge rate. So you're only going to be able to use 90% of the battery. Some of the newer ones are 100% discharge. So if it quotes 8 kilowatts, then you get to use the full 8 kilowatts. Also, when we're talking about batteries, you want to look at the kilowatt throughput, because there is a maximum throughput these batteries can do, either when they're filling up or when they're being drained. Now, I think my Give Energy one is something around 2.3, 2.2, 2.3. So you can't pull more than that from them when they're in use. So that's something to consider. Obviously, the Tesla Powerwall, I think you can pull a lot more out of those. And think about charging overnight as well on cheap rate electricity for your battery. Some battery manufacturers, this could be software related, but some don't offer that facility. I think it's really important to know your technology and know your brands before you start getting quotes. There are many different inverters and battery systems out on the market. I think it's worth, if you know already what you want, what brand you want, what sizing you want, that's really going to help you when you get quotes, because you really want to get quotes where they are quoting for the same technology, the same brand, the same size of inverter, the same size of battery. Otherwise, you've just got no way of knowing. Well, you can't compare like for like on quotes. You really do need to get quotes for the same things. One thing I actually did was watch a lot of YouTube videos to start off with, as you are now. But I actually watched videos from Australia, actually. Australia really know what they're talking about when it comes to the sun and solar. I learnt a lot from sort of basic videos about solar panels that came from Australian creators and companies. They were really good. And there are some other really good basic solar panel technology videos on YouTube that you can watch that educated me and that can educate you too. Something I tried not to do too much myself, but I ended up doing it, was mixing too many brands. Because you know what happens if everything you buy has an app to it. So if you end up with 3 or 4 different brands for your solar setup, you're going to end up with 3 or 4 different apps as well, which can be a little bit annoying, because really you just want one app where you can see what your whole system is doing. I must admit though that the My Energy app is really good for that once you've set it up correctly with all the extra CT clamps on your system. But as I've gone for a Solar Edge inverter on my PV side, on my solar side, I've got a Solar Edge app, Give Energy for the battery, so I've got a Give Energy app, and then I've got the My Energy app as well, because I've got an Eddy heating the hot water, and then of course I've got my Hypervolt as well, which also has an app. So if I'd have gone for a Zappi for my EV charger, then I would have not needed the Hypervolt app, but the Hypervolt came first and everything else came afterwards. So think about what you're going to do in the future, about whether you're going to have an EV charger or whether you've already got an EV charger, and you might want to stick with the same manufacturer for different parts of your solar system. One of the biggest things is to think about the future. Now these panels and these inverters, if you extend the warranties on these things, they can be warranted for up to 25 years. That's a long time. Even 10 years seems a long time from now. But think about when you're building your system, that where you want your system to be, or what you want it to handle in the next 5, 10, 15 years. You might have a heat pump by then, which is also electric obviously. You might have an EV by then, electric vehicle by then. So don't just build the system for today, try and build it for the future as well. I don't think you're ever going to say, I wish I'd put less panels on my roof. I think you're always going to say, I wish I'd put more panels on my roof. So the best thing to do is to try and put as many panels as you can on your roof to begin with, because you don't want to be paying for scaffolders again to come back again and put up more panels, because that's added cost. Try and get as many panels as you can on your roof at the beginning. But the two things that you're going to be restricted by, one is going to be the size of your roof. That's really the big thing. And the second is going to be your budget, isn't it? How much you can actually afford at the moment. So that was a little bit about the technologies. Now let's talk about installers when you get some quotes in. Now I got 4 quotes in the end. You can get more than that if you want to, but it still takes time to get the people to come round to quote for you. And also these days, a lot of the quotes, people won't actually call round. It'll actually be done online. You'll take the photos, or they'll get data about where you live and your roof and your compass points, where it lays, and this, that and the other, and how many panels they think they can get on, etc. So nowadays, a lot of the quotes are done kind of remotely. But I do recommend getting lots and lots of quotes, and also on the quotes, if you want to, get them to quote for several different types of size of panels or different battery sizes, so that you don't have to keep going backwards and forwards asking for another quote. You can just actually get several quotes in one, or get things where there's options to add on various things within the quote until you're happy. You also need to inquire about installation dates and availability of products. I waited, or have waited, several months for my battery to come after my solar panels have been installed. It's just the way it is. Everyone wants solar panels now and batteries now that the price of power has gone up, price of electricity has risen. And the installers are really busy at the moment, which also means that there's a lack of supply of inverters and panels and batteries as well. So it's worth also asking not just about when an install date may be, which you need to do that, but also ask about the availability of your inverters, panels, etc. When you're looking at installers, look for reviews of your installer. Check out Trustpilot to see if they're on there. Also have a look at their social media accounts. See if they're posting about installs they've just done and what kind of installs they've done. Check out their accounts. You can actually go onto Company's House and check out the company itself and see if you trust them or not. See their see their latest accounts. Also, thoroughly read the terms and conditions of the quotes as well, of the contract when you go to sign it. And also note down the deposit that's required as well and what's going to be happening to that deposit if it's protected. So think about the warranty extensions as well. Now, Solar Edge comes with a standard 12-year warranty, but you can extend that to 25 years at the cost of about £200 or so if you want to. I've done that. Give Energy inverters, they come with a 5-year warranty, but they can be extended to 10 years. I also paid a couple £100 to extend that to 10 years. Although the Give Energy battery comes with a 10-year warranty, and I didn't extend that, I just left that to 10 years. And obviously the panels that I spoke of already, mine came with a 25-year warranty as standard. When it comes to solar panels, there are two warranties to look at. There is the performance warranty. That means the degradation rate of the panel should not go below a certain amount, and that's usually given a warranty, in most cases 25 years, some 15. Have a look at that. But then there's also the product warranty, that the panel's not going to go wrong. That's another value. Some panels are 25 years, mine are. Just check the manufacturer of your panel to see how long a warranty they give you. Finally, there's also the workmanship warranty. Now, some companies will give you a 10-year workmanship warranty, some will give you a 2-year workmanship warranty. If you want to, inquire about an extension. Basically, it's just an insurance policy that you pay for with your installer to extend that workmanship warranty. My warranty came with a standard workmanship warranty of 2 years, and I paid about £160 to extend it another 3 years to 5 years. And finally, bird protection. I see a lot of solar panels don't have bird protection. This is the mesh going around the outside to stop larger birds, probably pigeons and things, nesting underneath your panels. On my roof I have a lot of kind of crows and pigeons come and sit on the roof. So I really wanted bird protection. Some people don't think about this, but it was a must for me, and I paid about £400 for that. So in the end, my system that I bought was 14 390 watt panels. I've got 4 on the east and 10 on the south. I've got a Solar Edge inverter, 4 kilowatt inverter, and I've got a Give Energy 3 kilowatt inverter for the battery side and an 8 kilowatt battery. I've also got a Solar Edge, I've also got a My Energy Eddy for heating that hot water, and a Harvey and a hub that I installed afterwards. I've also got the optimizers obviously on the panels, and bird protection and extended warranties for everything. And my total bill for that was £11,500. But as I say, you can go cheaper than that if you wanted to, because I've got 2 inverters. If you wanted a hybrid system, you went with 1 inverter and a battery, then you could knock £1,000 off of that, say 10.5. And then if you wanted to not have the bird protection, that would be about 10 then, another £500 off. And if you didn't want the extended warranties, you could go down to about 9,500. So I think around kind of 9,000 would get you a nice kind of solar system, of just over 5 kilowatts of panels. I mean, I've got more power in the panels than I have in the inverter. That's just so that in the I do have a little bit of clipping, I must admit. So in the summertime when the sun's out, it will max out at 4 kilowatt because the inverter's maxing out at 4 kilowatt, even though the panels could probably take 4.4, 4.5, but we'll never know because it stops at 4. But in the winter time, having more panels will help because basically there's less light about, but we're trying to gather as much light as possible anyway. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope it's given you some things to think about basically when you're looking at quotes and doing your research and working on an installation. If you did like the video, give us a like and don't forget to drop us a comment below, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Thanks a lot for watching. See you soon.